Hey, bros, do you want a chance to win a free popcorn tin and a souvenir cup from Antman and Wasp Quantimania?
Is like, comment, and subscribe to Just Us Bros on all our socials. We unfortunately don't have a TikTok yet, even though the cards say it. And share. Please share with your friends, with your neighbors, with your pets, if they can watch TV, which they do.
And make sure to check us out on Spotify as well as your other favorite streaming platform for podcasts.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
Well, excuse me.
You'll thank me one day.
Hey, everyone, welcome to Just Us Bros podcast, where we talk all your favorite nerddoms, movies, comics, and TV. And guess what? We got new merch. I'm digging it. Anyway, as always, I'm Hokey Joker.
I'm Pat Drew.
I'm Green Lantern.
It's been a couple weeks. We wanted to get the spoilers out of the way, and let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. How are you guys feeling about it in Phase 5 and going into Kang Dynasty? What's your guys' thoughts on it?
My thoughts. I'll speak to Ant-Man Quantumania first. I love Paul Rudd. I loved his character as Ant-Man, especially in the first two installments, the Avengers movies, Endgame. Quantumania, I was bored. I have to say it was kind of a boring movie. The quantum realm was cool. Some of the comedic stuff that they did was kind of funny, but overall, the movie was a little boring, and I had trouble staying awake. And I liked Kang. I think Kang's got some potential to grow as a villain, but definitely as the kickoff for Phase 5, I was a little disappointed.
I kind of feel like the same way with Green Lantern. I think maybe I felt like I had too much of high hopes for that movie, and like I felt like there were going to be bigger stakes that were planted for that. It kind of feels like what they're doing with Kang. I guess this will be spoilers, but it's not like a Thanos type threat, but he's just as bad, if not worse. Well, the Kangs are going to be worse than Thanos, but it feels like this was kind of a slow burn, like leading into how bad he's going to be in the future for the Avengers to sound off against. But I don't know. To me, the movie was good. I like I said, I think it was a little bit slower, but also I don't know if we've been spoiled with these past 10 years of Marvel stuff where it's kind of like we're supposed to be boom, action, 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 and like the story is easy to follow. Like it's a one bad guy. He's got to get these stones. We got to make sure he doesn't get them. But in this movie, I think they're setting. It feels like to me they were setting up a lot of stuff for the future that maybe the average audience wouldn't catch. But for us, that deep dive into this kind of stuff, we're kind of like upon first watch, I'm thinking more like, this is a good movie. This is an okay movie. Man, they're doing a lot of stuff. Like they're doing a lot of character building. Like Kang, when Kang was introduced, he was great. Jonathan Majors, I think, is going to be like this generation's Denzel Washington, probably, because he just commands the screen, whatever he's in. I just saw him in Creed 3 too. Man, that was another good movie too. But I digress.
I would feel I love like Green Lantern and Badger said. I love Paul Rudd. I think Jonathan Majors did a great job at Kang. It just felt that those two were the standouts, but the movie didn't really fit them. It felt like too low budget for not low budget, but low quality for them. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff missing. I really did miss seeing Luis. I wanted to see Luis in there. And some of the
like
jokes
I would totally pay for just watch a Disney Plus short of Luis like describing Ant-Man and Quantumania to the audience.
it would probably be better if we're being honest about that. But I mean, some of the jokes got old, like the guy that kept, or the little jelly monster that kept trying to like put his in the guy's holes. Okay, one time is enough, but then like at the end when he's like running, and it was just a lot of stuff going on, and then
that was the screaming goats in Thor for me. Funny the first time they came on screen. The next 10 times they came on screen, each time it lost its effect. The the whole guy was the same way. He was funny at first, but then lost his effect.
Yeah, and that was voiced by a previous Ant-Man actor, or sorry, even comic book actor. What's his name? The one who kept saying, "Oh, the Baba Yaga." Same guy, same voice.
I know who you're talking about. He was in the X-Cons thing, but God, I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, so I mean, we're all kind of like, it was okay movie. Are we just getting burnt out with Marvel movies, superhero movies, or what's going on here?
Yeah,
Well, how
I
do
feel
you
for
feel?
me. Yeah. Tell me how you feel.
I mean, we're going up into Infinity War. How many movies, or sorry, Endgame? How many movies were there? There was 20. Now we're getting more and more, and it's just we're getting desensitized to it. And Disney keeps pumping out movie after movie. I mean, there'll be like 5 or 6 in a year, and I saw something where visual effects artists are getting burned out, and I'm a visual guy. I mean, I've worked in videos and all this stuff, and when you see it in a movie, like the floating head and I can't even remember the names of it. In Love and
Love and
Thunder, the
Thunder.
floating head, or the
Axel.
Axel's floating head, or Modoc in this one. It just doesn't look good. Which you go back and look, and VFX artists are like quitting the business because they say Disney's a horrible client. So that's something I think it's kind of getting old to me. And that when they're pumping out all these projects, I mean, it's hard to get quality when you're doing so much of it. And we're used to the quips, we're used to the jokes, we're used to the lines, and yeah, that's my opinion on the quality of it, at least.
I think I just thought of another question. For both of y'all. If we're kind of feeling like maybe Marvel's doing too much of the same, the repetition, like stuff we're getting to know too much, too often, does that mean that having an MCU type thing where everything is connected, that's going to eventually burn people out? And how would you feel if DC, like James Gunn and all of them, instead of doing like a DCU, which they're going to do, but not make the focus be more on the DCU, but like, okay, here's our DCU, but they don't have to worry about, they can do Joker 2 or the Batman Part 2, and they're not connected to us. We don't have to worry about that jazz. Do you feel Marvel should start doing that now, or do you feel like they've stuck with the MCU? That's where they're gonna have to stick to.
I think they've kind of got their plan. They've got 7 phases planned out right now, and we just started phase 5. So I think they've got their plan that they're going to continue to do. I don't know. I like the connected universe. I think what's the problem is, like Hokey Joker was saying, we started watching these from day one. So from the very first Iron Man movie, we were there. We were there for it. Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, the Avengers. We were there for all of those movies, but then you've added these additional characters, and by the time you get to Endgame, you've got all these big A-list actors. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson. I'm not going to name them all, but even Brie Larson. You got Captain Marvel coming in. I think part of the problem with the shared universe and trying to do these big crossover movies is that you've got so many people with so little screen time without having a 5-6 hour movie.
And if I want to piggyback off of that, you did say Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and all of them. They're gone now. So like what we really liked is sort of gone. And so
well, and that's where I was going to lead into. Like, I get that they're trying to introduce the next generation. Even with Quantumania, they introduced Paul Rudd's daughter Cassie, which has her own suit. She's her own person in her own way. Thor: Love and Thunder kind of did the same thing by the little girl at the end of that movie. I mean, again, that's a whole other topic, but yeah, we started with these characters, and now that they're exiting and the torch is being passed to the next generation, I'm not as sold on the next generation as I was on their predecessors.
and
I think because I think part of that's hidden with me is making the storylines less engaging.
But if anybody's trying to jump in, like if you want to like watch them, like the 47th Marvel movie that just came out, You're like, and you're watching it, and this is your first Marvel movie. Everybody's like, why is that funny? Well, see, you got to go back to Iron Man 3 when this happened. Okay, so it's really hard to get into it. But if you did get into it, like let's say you started from Iron Man, like just now, and worked your way up, wouldn't that have the same effect that's happening to us? Like, oh, I love this Iron Man, I love that too. And then once they're gone, you're like, oh, I just liked Iron Man, or I liked Captain America. Now they're gone. You know, it seems to be hard to get into, like in the middle of the pack, especially like what 30 movies in now.
Well, I think Marvel does do a good job in like, say, you get a new job somewhere or something, and you want to hang out with some people and like, hey, want to go check out the new Ant-Man movie? Is like, I have no idea. I don't know anything about the Marvel stuff. It's like, I feel like you can still see this and like, say Phase 5 Ant-Man, you're starting. That's instead of it being number 29 or 30 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, have somebody start that being at number 1 for them. And going forward, to an extent, it's things that would still make sense to them. They might not catch all the inside jokes, but I kind of feel like maybe for us, like both of y'all are saying, we've been here since the beginning, over a decade. Um, do we have to keep looking at each phase as a continuation? I mean, it obviously is a continuation, but should we go into the movies being like, okay, let's try not to worry about what has come before. Let's try to worry about the future. Like we will know what's coming in the future because we've seen all the stuff before. But should we go into these movies now with like a casual um view, more like a casual moviegoer's opinion on stuff? And we got 10
Well, I
minutes.
feel yeah, for me, so 2 points to that. For me, maybe that's what we need to do, but also I feel like you lose that anticipation and excitement for the next movie that comes out, which to me is part of the movie. Is you see the trailers, then you got 3 months, and then you have a new trailer, and then the next month, and then the movie comes out. Like you've got all that lead time, anticipation, excitement up to the movie. We make our own little events when we go see the movies. So to me, going in with that casual attitude, which is kind of what we've been doing. That's I mean, really since Black Widow, it's been more casual for me at least. But second part of that, looking at it that way as a continuation, it made me think of James Bond. The James Bond movies have been around for what, 50, 60 years? But
Yeah.
you've got constantly new actors coming in playing the same character. You've got new stories. If you look at it as, yeah, it's in the same universe, it's involves some of the same characters, but different story. I think that could help.
I'm in agreement, yeah, because I have noticed recently, like with all the Marvel movies, I'm just going in being like, okay, I'll watch it, okay, I'll watch it, and nothing really excites me, and maybe that's why I'm liking DC more now because like when they have a trailer, like that's the one movie they're gonna have all year or something. So, but I think a big thing though is if Disney and Marvel want to keep the people engaged and hype up their movies, go to a different recipe because yeah, this recipe has worked well for you for how long, but now people are kind of getting burnt out. Like, yeah, you love mom's spaghetti, but now you kind of want lasagna, So like the Batman came out a year ago, and that was totally different, like long drawn out, and people loved it because it was a break from the normal superhero movie. So I think changing up a flavor might be a good remedy of it. Like, don't have quip action, funny line here, smirk, and screaming, annoying goat. Like, take it serious. Like, take the taste seriously.
Because for me, Captain America, the Winter Soldier was very fresh. It felt like a different movie for me. It wasn't so much the cut and paste that most Marvel movies have, like in sequence that we have grown to, okay, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that leads up to that. It was kind of its own like spy thriller movie, but it was still part of the MCU. And I don't think that one actually worried about setting up too much of the future. Like we knew there was going to be another movie coming up, and after the end of that, we were excited to see the future, but we weren't, okay, we got to wait to see XYZ or whenever this comes out, and whenever that comes out, And also, I think too, for, going back to Quantumania, most of this was leading up to what Kang Dynasty, Avengers Kang Dynasty, but that's how far away from now? What,
Like,
2 years?
yeah.
Yeah, and then what's the next Marvel movie that's actually coming out this year? Because I really don't know.
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3.
But that could be the end of Guardians. You don't know if they're coming back for the Avengers.
Yeah, true.
Piggyback on some of those things. Like, I don't know. What was I trying to say? I lost my train of thought. What I agree with what Matt Drew said as far as Quantum Mania almost seemed like, yeah, it was there to give Paul Rudd a third part so that there could be an Ant-Man trilogy. But also, it felt like the entire point of the movie was to set up Cassie as a future hero and Kang as a villain for Kang Dynasty. And again, Thor: Love and Thunder, I felt like the entire point of that movie was to introduce love to us.
And
So
and the entire reason for Hawkeye the series was to set up
to introduce,
Kate Bishop.
yeah. So I'm all for introducing new characters. I don't know that I agree with setting up a show or a movie that's sole purpose is driven to introduce that character.
Yeah.
Like think about even Anthony Mackie's character, Falcon.
Samuel. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up in the first movie. They didn't make a big deal out of it. He got a full suit and got the help at the end. Like that was cool. And then he became over time more and more. But it's not like
It's not like what they did with Cassie. It's almost could have been called Ant-Man, and instead of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and Cassie Quantumania, because I think she had more screen time than the Wasp did, actually.
Yeah, the Wasp didn't really do anything.
And she's in the freaking title.
Yeah. You go to the movie to watch Thor. You don't go to watch, oh yeah, let's watch Thor to watch Jane Foster. No.
Well, yeah. So the way that they did it before, even with Bucky, to keep on piggybacking on Winter Soldier and the Captain America characters, those were introduced, I guess, casually. Same thing with Black Widow and Iron Man. She was introduced casually. It wasn't forced.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think I'm oversaturated on superhero movies. I don't know that I'm oversaturated on Marvel movies. I just think that they're having a tough time with their storyline right now and their storytelling. And there's so much source material that they could go with. I get that they're trying to do their own thing and pull from some of the source material, but I just, so far, phase 4, phase 5, the stories just aren't doing it for me.
And do you think it's a lot to try to get into with their web series like Hawkeye, Moon Knight, the Marvels and all that, or Miss Marvel, Loki? Is that like just like pounding up?
I actually think Disney Plus is the place to like do the intro for new characters, because like obviously Moon Knight did not have a movie. He had a series where we got to flesh out his character, understand him a lot better than the casual Moon Knight fan would have been like. I've seen him in a Marvel game a few times. I've seen him in some comics. I have no idea about him. Like, what is this? Just a Marvel's version of Batman? Well, pretty much. But because of the series, it does what we would not want to see in a movie. Like, say they did a Blade movie and boom, they ushered Moon Knight into that and tried to flesh out his character. We'd be like, I'm not getting it. I don't feel it. We got 2 minutes. So I think it will be better. Like, okay, if we want to do like Ant-Man 3, make it an Ant-Man movie. Don't make it a movie where we have to set up some other stuff. If we want to talk about Kang more, Disney Plus series. Like Cassie, boom, Disney Plus series. It's not like they can't get these big name actors in the Disney Plus stuff anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And with the Kate Bishop part, maybe use a returning actor as a supporting character in the series, and then that can launch them into their own thing after they've been introduced. Like with Hawkeye, even She-Hulk, you had Bruce Banner show up in the first episode, that last episode. that kind of helped support the character, but it was her own show. We learned about her separately.
Do you think that with some of these Disney Plus shows, it just feels like more like a burden to go and watch? Like, oh, I got to watch it just so I'm all caught up on the MCU and all the what's going on there.
Well, that's a job for the casual fan or the hardcore fans like us. If they want to, cool. If they don't, like they make a Young Avengers movie and they're like, oh, should I know more about these characters? Boom, they can go back to watch the stuff.
I'm just thinking though, like I know, like I haven't seen all the Marvel things. I haven't been. I think the first one I missed was Doctor Strange, the first one, and I waited for it to come out on Netflix, but I haven't seen Eternals, and just there's a lot. Like I thought, like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, okay, or I Am Groot series, but I just felt like I had to watch those to like keep in the know of what else going on in the MCU. But how much impact is that going to have on like Guardians 3, for example? I mean, we'll still go
Like
see it, but
for the Guardians holiday special,
yeah,
there was maybe one or two things in that like, okay, I saw these two bits in the holiday special. That's going to help me understand something in Guardians 3, which we don't even know. They may not even bring up the fact that oh god, Mantis is what? Star-Lord's half sister. That may not even be a factor in Guardians 3. That may have just been a fun little thing that they learned in
yeah,
the holiday special.
Yeah, but I think for me though, it's a good way to waste 2 hours, 2.5, depending on the movie now, and it's not anything I really get excited for anymore. It's just, oh, I guess I should go see the new Antman movie, or oh, I guess I should go see this. But there's some stuff, like I said, Eternals. I don't really care how that's going to affect me, and I know I've read online where it's like, well, this person was introduced, and this person, and this person. I don't really care.
More
Okay.
MCU should go more of the DCU route where they have the obviously DCU and then they extended it out to where they have MCU Elseworlds like DC is going to have.
Yeah, and because I think that broadens your audience a little bit more, where someone might not like Ezra Miller's Flash, so they can go watch Grant Gustin's, even though that's coming to an end. Like you might not have liked Ben Affleck's Batman, but you had Robert Pattinson. You got Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and they don't all have to be connected. And I think that's definitely a way to broaden out your audience of who you want to watch your movies and TV shows. I think that's definitely working for DC now, but that's again, we'll have to see what happens when James Gunn comes and see what he cuts and what he doesn't.
I'm much bigger DC fan than I am Marvel fan, but back in the day, especially before the past, I'd say 5 or 6 movies, like I liked Iron Man, I liked Spider-Man, I liked even Doctor Strange. I didn't really know anything about the character, but I was excited for that movie, seeing it. And so yeah, even though I'm traditionally more a DC person than a Marvel person, I do like some Marvel characters, and I really like their movies. But again, I think for me, it's more they're focusing on these newer characters that I really don't care about, or they haven't given me a story, enough background to care about.
What do you think this means for the superhero movie industry as a whole?
I think people will be watching the DC stuff, especially with James Gunn. I know he's kind of just getting started, but I think people will be paying close attention to Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I think people will be paying attention to Aquaman 2, some of the DC movies to kind of see how they
Blue
compare
Beetle
to the Marvel
definitely, too.
movies.
Blue Beetle as well this year.
Oh yeah, Blue Beetle. Like I don't know. But again, I care more about not necessarily Aquaman, but I like Shazam better than I like some of the other characters that are in the Marvel universe. Like I definitely like Blue Beetle better than I like Antman. So I'm gonna be impartial and hopeful for those movies. Plus, those are, especially with Blue Beetle, that's a character that's not been on the big screen before, and I'm excited to see that character develop.
Well, he was on the silver screen, wasn't he, in Smallville?
I said big screen.
I know. I'm just saying this isn't the first live action though. Live action time.
That's why I didn't say live action. I said big screen.
Okay,
I chose
fine.
my words carefully. Why are you trying to call me out, bro?
I didn't call you out. I was just saying he's been in live action before, bro. But I think a big part of these movies that they need to make you do is fall in love with the characters enough to follow them for like their superhero career. And do you think a lot of these are failing though? That is my question. Like, do studios need to try harder to make these characters likable?
Do you mean somewhat like make a movie called Blue Beetle and it be an origin story movie for him, not like making a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp where Cassie isn't more than the Wasp?
Oh, that's misleading. Yeah, I think so. But I think it's also it's about writing and making these characters likable, because how many forgetful characters have we seen that they're spending too much focus on, oh, this guy will be the comedy comic relief on it. I don't care about him. I want to watch somebody kick some ass. Like,
I mean,
I wanna-
comic relief is good when it's well timed and not overused.
but I feel like it's being overused a lot. So that's
To bring it back full circle, Luis was great comic relief.
Great
Comic
comic Luis.
Great comic Luis. He was great comic relief in the first Ant-Man movie. But it was well timed.
So, but we want less screaming goats, less guy wanting to put his jelly fingers in your holes. Just give us a superhero.
By the way, don't we have 9 instead of 7 if we're counting eyes as holes?
1, 2.
Were they counting the eyes though?
I guess they weren't.
Okay, sidestep. Who else besides me and you guys, when they said the 7 holes, were mentally counting all the holes along with Paul Rudd?
I think the entire audience.
Yeah, I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? Are those holes?
No one wants to touch. No.
Jinxie Cat, you leave poor Jinxie Cat alone.
Do you want me to put the hammer down?
Yes, because I'll show you how worthy I am.
He's bringing back Prima Nocta. Anyway, guys, that's our podcast on Marvel fatigue and what you guys are thinking for the future. I'm sorry. I'm talking while you talking. Anyway, guys, that is our podcast. Just Us Bros. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you want to talk about. Do you think Marvel fatigue is real? Are you excited about any of the upcoming movies? Are you excited about Shazam! Fury of the Gods? Anyway, as always, I'm Hokey Joker.
I'm Bad Drew.
And I am Green Lantern. Ding, 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 ding.
And as always, guys, cheers.